And good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever it may be, and welcome to another scene in Living World of Darkness, the Mage venue. Tonight's scene finds one Demetrios Fotis, recently arrived back in New York, and starting to call on his old friends and chantry mates for a little get together. And he picks up his old phone, and after trying with little to no success to contact Jericho, he tries again. Maybe fate will smile upon him tonight. And he picks up the phone and sends Jericho a message. How about a drink at the casino? And he pushes send. Waits for an answer.
In a very, very roundabout way, actually. You will get a message back, not from the number that you went ahead and sent the message to, from a number, well, mostly entirely different. But the message goes ahead and reads very, very plainly, very, very quite simply, a drink in a game.
Then he just goes to the bar, gets himself a drink, goes to one of the back rooms, and simply waits, tapping his fingers on the table.
hmm It takes, well, this particular mage a few minutes at least. And when he goes ahead and reaches, he goes ahead and does the hubble of identifying himself, giving the proper authorizations, whatever have you. And he says that he's meeting somebody, a man that has quite recently come back into town. And the stewards there, the staffers, go ahead and puzzle to himself and go ahead and direct him towards one of the back rooms. In fact, there's a knock there. There's a knock in the back room, and it is opened. I don't suppose you went ahead and locked it, but in comes a actually one of those I don't know how you go ahead and call them. They're a pit boy, basically a guy that deals cards out for the game. I
Fair
don't
enough.
know their technical term.
Fair enough.
House shuffler, whatever you want to go ahead and call it. He's wearing the vest, very, very formal, very, very well to do. And behind him actually comes the man that you have actually been waiting for.
Demi raises up from his seat. And the first thing that Jericho's gonna notice is that Demi looks 10 to 15 years older than he remembers, although it's only been like a year since they haven't seen each other. And he firmly clasps the glass that he had in his hand, looks to Jericho straight in the eye.
hmm
Long time no see.
Yeah, what are you drinking?
Scotch, dry.
Goes ahead and snaps his fingers, looks to the the house consort and says, "The same." The consort is going to go ahead and briefly leave as Dirko's going to go ahead and situate himself on the other side of the playing table. Actually,
So, how's life been treating you, Jericho?
life has been treating me well. Had the ups, had the downs. Now it's mostly up.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? It's been ups and downs from me, mostly downs lately. seeing as in my motivated leave, I wasn't aware that the Chantry was under new management.
Talking about the agent the tradition sent down. The knight.
Yep. Not to mention the fact that it's a bit, let's just say, unsettling to come back home and not find anyone you know.
At least the walls are the same. The consorts are still the same busybodies that they've always been.
Yes, but you're gone. Jade's gone. Remy's gone. No answers, no calls, no messages, no info. Jade wasn't exactly keen on sharing. And honestly, now, and this might be in poor taste, but how many people do I have to actually kill to actually get to you?
As in to actually finish me off, or just simply to have a conversation with me. The consort goes ahead and briefly makes its entrance, goes ahead and puts a glass down by Jericho's side of the table, and noticing that you're sort of dry yourself, goes ahead and places another shot in front of you. 3 ice, lots and lots of whiskey.
Well, let's see if the one that was in front of me was still the confused guy I found a year and a half ago playing Let's See Where I Appear Next. Yeah, you might have not ended up that well. But seeing as you've got your shit together, let's just say friendly conversation for all time's sake.
I can do that. Conversation, a game, drinks. Let's start there. How about that?
I would have rather had a private conversation. And Dimi waves to the dealer to get away and takes the pack of cards from his hands. I can shuffle them well enough.
Ah, that's what they're called. Fucking dealers. Damn it. Beginning the scene, freaking absolutely insanely confused about what to call this poor sack of shit. The dealer's gonna go ahead and get waved off. He'll leave you to the privacy of your game.
Jericho looks to himself. Yeah. So, out of character, I'm actually trying to find a pack of cards. And as Dimi begins to shuffle the cards, what happened here?
After you left?
Pretty much.
Okay. After you left, there was this rogue cabal that came rolling around, actually. It went ahead and picked up the singers, and then afterwards it went ahead and picked up the wheelmen. And that rogue cabal was made up of a singer and a wheelman. It looks like they were trying to clear up a lot of competition, or they were trying to whitewash their backgrounds before disappearing into the ether again.
So, how come so many people have left? And from all I've heard, Remy kinda kicked the bucket.
When that rogue ball came after the wheelman, he was one of the first people to vanish. They were very good at that.
For fuck's sake, we're talking about the guy that can run a chantry.
I know. These were people that were masters.
I see. and Demi begins dealing the cards. As he places the 5 cards in front of Jericho, no funny business.
No funny business. He goes ahead and raises his hand.
Okay, fair enough. And Demi deals the cards to himself as well.
How does the first round and the first hand go? Let us ask ourselves that question by rolling 2 dice. Well, 57. Roll yours. See if you get better.
19.
You get some stray cards, some number cards, and Jericho, for his part, is looking a bit pretty with 2 jacks. The pot is relatively small at the moment. Not a lot of the not a lot has been committed quite yet.
Demi, visibly humiliated by his hand, just looks at Jericho. No Thomas work. Agreed?
I agreed as such.
Fuck, then you're just naturally lucky. And Demi starts shuffling the cards again. So,
Where did you go?
home.
Okay.
I
What
had
did
some
home-
loose ends to tie.
Mm-hmm. What did home do to you?
And Timmy gestures towards his face. Isn't it obvious?
It's obvious that something happened, but not what.
Well, let's just say I'm not keen on sharing. But what I can tell you is that the whole politician and his wife business is settled. And some payments had to be made. Not to mention the fact that how much do you actually know about us? About the Hieroxenoi? The pomegranate dem, as they call us.
The pomegranates, not too much. You know I'm from the Celtics.
Yeah, I know. Now, by the way, Mom says hi. She misses her brethren.
I bet she does.
Yeah. Once you're accustomed to the weather in Scotland, it's kind of hard to actually get reaccustomed to the Mediterranean. Demi hands Jericho his cards and takes his.
You know, I got to go ahead and introduce you to a wonderful noodle shop I found in Chinatown one of these days. Brought me out of a lot of different situations with a different perspective. And we're rolling 2 dice.
88.
There you go. You go ahead and win with 2 queens, and 2 jacks. Meanwhile, Jericho's only sitting with a pair of 10s.
Apparently, luck smiles on the unjust as well as the just.
Mm-hmm. Every time there's an up, there's also a down.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that, like I said, my tradition. There's few of us left. Proud people. Deeply traditionalistic.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the fact that Jade didn't end up as one of ours didn't exactly shine on my rep sheet.
Is that also one of the reasons you lost some color in your hair?
Not most of it, but part of it.
Mm-hmm.
The other part went to our good old friends from the market I was telling you about that I visited with Jade.
The Market of Memories.
Mm-hmm. And let's just say that the reason why I'm here is kind of mixed. It's something between being called back and being sent back. And the fact that the Chantry is barely hanging right now.
Temple of the Wheel barely hanging?
There's like 3 of us who can hold on our own.
I don't know if, well, I believe it was after you left or during the whole AO debacle. I went ahead and ferried a bunch of people into the Shadowlands, actually, the Realms of the Dead. Most proudest fucking achievement that I have, or at least the most one I can go ahead and hang my hat on. Made sure they all went ahead and came back safe, no matter what weird shit they went ahead and saw and did. We found a market, much like the one you described.
Yeah. Like I told you before, Jericho, there's a reason why some of us don't deal with spirits. It takes a toll.
It's too costly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I trained in combat. At least I can fight something I can send along on the wheel. It's kind of hard when they're halfway there.
Fair enough. But, Demi, it's not that I deal with spirits, it's the spirits deal with me. It's always been that kind of relationship.
Hey, at least the portal stopped.
Yes, at least. At least I stopped falling into other worlds. Another deal. Roll your dice. Oh. What you got?
7 and a 6.
I'm going to go ahead and roll a fate die to see if I count that as a 10 or a 0. I'm counting as a 10.
Congrats.
My dear son, a full house appears in Jericho's hand while you have to do 2 aces and 2 queens. The full house goes ahead and takes the pot. I believe that's how that goes.
Yeah. So, why didn't you come back? It should have been you, not me, that comes back and tries to get the wheel back on track. It's our tradition, Chantry, after all. It's supposed to be like our strong point, our beacon in the darkness. The Hermetics have their club.
Mm-hmm.
The Choristers have their club. We have our club. And from what I know, the Diogenes club is pretty well. The Crusades, or however they call the Chorister club. Okay, let's not get there.
The Crusaders bar is just as lively as it ever was. People get scratched up. And I'm there some of the time to patch themselves up. The Diogenes Club is currently headed by Master Edwin at the moment, alone, but I foresee a lot of people running through there if he's able to get his head out of his own introspective ass. St. Michael's was the chorister stronghold. I still believe it is, and there's been some movement from the higher ups from the Council of Nine, but not too much. And the Temple of the Wheel, well, it's always been well staffed. Jericho goes and clinks his glass and drinks.
Yeah, staff is not a problem, Jericho. The fact that there's few of us and we're as widespread as you can get is not to our advantage.
I went ahead and explained to you the chantries that I did know, but I didn't answer your question, did I? Were you going to let me go away with that?
I'm not here to interrogate you, Jericho. I'm here to ask you, from one of the Osanatoi to another. Come back, and let's make this place what it used to be, a stronghold of our tradition. We'll deal with politics later.
Dimby, I made my own place in this city. I had the Mahara Chantry. I'm a fucking adept and master in my own right. I'm sorry that I didn't bring that kind of talent and potential and stay within the wheel. It's just here I was stagnant and I was able to grow and build something better. This is not a criticism of you. This is not a criticism of the tradition or the Euthanatoids. It's just never where I was meant to belong. Dimmy, you really can't say that in any mission that you and I went on that I was fully committed to the Euthanatoi cause. You can't say that I had faith like you did, or Cecil did.
Okay, fair enough. You have your doubts. It's normal. It's human. It's what makes us tick, keeps us grounded. The problem is that we might have some issues to deal with. And if push comes to shove, we need to tighten our ranks. And our ranks, whether we like it or not, are first and foremost our traditions. Yeah, I'm glad that you have your own thing. Glad that people look up to you. Glad to see you're not shaking and trembling anymore. Glad to see that you stopped playing like the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, hopping from one hole to another. The problem is that we need a unified mage front. Gods know what may come our way.
Gods may come our way.
Gods, marauders, Nefandi, technocracy. Something we might not even have a name for yet.
That's where you're coming from. You're wanting to close up ranks. You're wanting to make this and all of us more secure, right?
Yeah. First of all, try and get everyone to their respective traditions. And if there are any that claim independence or being orphans or hollowed ones or however the fuck they call themselves nowadays, more power to them. It's one thing to offer sanctuary for a night or two. It's a completely different thing to waste resources on someone who might actually end up being a turncoat. And second of all, we kind of need like a how the fuck do you Americans call it? Yeah, maybe a community barbecue with all the mages in town.
I remember the last barbecue that we had back in the Marble Garden. Not too bad. I remember Alex Winterborn being there. Missed that jackass.
Yeah, Alex was fun. Yeah, what I'm saying is that we need like a small-scale council of traditions in the city. You felt the ripples.
Yeah.
You felt that something is wrong with the spirits.
There's a very, very cold breeze flowing out of Central Park.
Wonderful. Dimi from a year ago would say, hey, it's the werewolf stuff, let them deal with it. Dimi from now says, let's be on our guard. They have their mages, they have their fighters, they have their wise people. If things go out of hand and spread through the city like wildfire, I don't want to lose any more of our ranks. Okay, fair enough. I trust the wheel and I trust how fate goes and that some people need to die whether we like it or not. I don't think it's within the wheel's best interest, and I'm talking about the big one, not this one, to not have any of us in the city anymore. We never worked in the hundreds and in the thousands, but correct me if I'm wrong, about 10 of us in the city in a single chantry would make things a lot more stable. Not to mention the fact that we're one of the few traditions that actually have the balls to push a knife through someone's heart if they go too far.
You're worried about the cold wind, the chilling wind, the deathly wind that comes from Central Park, where all the shape-shifting monsters go ahead and reside. I suggest making sure that your wards are up to snuff and secure. You have this problem here at the wheel because you're centralized. This is Manhattan. This is where everybody is. This is where the leeches are. These are where the werewolves are. These are where the demons sometimes frequent and fauna. This is where the fair folk go ahead and make their dirty tricks in a very, very dark alley. None of these are my concern. They can be made my concern, but I do not feel at this time it should be my concern. I have built up myself the Yamahara Garden, and I plan to go ahead and sow my seeds there. That does not mean that I would abandon you. Hell no. I'm quite happy that there's another of my tradition walking around that is as well schooled and well versed as you, Demi. That is a talented fucking assassin like you, Demi. I think you'd be a fantastic ally to have.
You know what we say back on the other side of the pond? Blood is thicker than water. Whatever your choice is, you're still one of my tradition, and there's no bad blood between us. Maybe the occasional punch and kick, but no bad blood.
We all made our decisions.
Fair enough, but let me put it this way. Have you talked to a nice lady upstairs?
I talked to the knight earlier, maybe 2 days ago.
Has she told you about her little problem?
Your apprentice.
Yeah. I can handle my apprentice. I need to handle hers as well.
Demi.
Jade's
He goes
a
ahead
complete
and
enough.
looks at you and goes ahead and throws down the ace, the king, and the queen that he currently had in his hand, looks to you and says simply, "That matter is settled."
What matter?
Her apprentice, Denver, safely back under her watchful eye. I made sure of that.
Dimi grabs the card from the table, puts them back in one pack. I got bored of this.
Hmm.
He looks at you straight in the eye. You have my congratulations. You worked on an assignment faster than I did.
Only because I got to it a lot earlier than you.
Not to mention the fact that you were in the city while I was away. It's obviously you're better connected than I am.
I had the advantages. I used them. I'm sure if the tables were turned, you would have done a much quicker job than me.
Hey, I got old. Dimi smirks. And I got out of hand. I'm rusty.
Look,
Well, if that matter's settled,
Mhm.
it comes back to our old problems. Well, actually, my old problems. I need the wheel back on its feet. And I need to settle the whole Jade and Daniel thing once and for all. I've got nothing against the kid, but you know what happens to people, to our people, when they get too friendly with them? Things go haywire.
What is your real concerns? And why do you keep claiming possession of her apprenticeship?
She was supposed to be one of us. She was a fucking slave to the Hermetics, making tea and washing windows. We brought her in, both of us. We taught her what we know. And she turns into a freaking orphan, first of all. Second of all, if push comes to shove and Daniel ends up not being the nice guy we all know and love, the little concern of information leakage suddenly springs to mind. Third of all, a failed awakening, a failed apprenticeship, leans down on both people involved. And yeah, okay, I admit it. It's a question of pride, first and foremost. I don't want my first apprentice to end up an orphan. But seeing as what happened in the wheel, I'm not taking chances. That's why I insist on closing our ranks. I insist on training the consuls and training our apprentices. I insist on making a united mage front built and based upon traditions, no matter how thinly we spread. Congrats on making a new champion. I wish all the best to you. May the gods bless you and watch you. And make sure you have a lot of little fuzzy plans because I know you like your green shit. But this would not exactly be the time. If you want to keep your garden, keep your garden. But don't forget the people that took care of you. I'm telling you the same thing I told Jade.
Maybe you want to go ahead and build this unified front of Magi for every single threat in New York against us, against the wise men, against any particular tradition, whether it be Marauder, Nefandi, or Technocrat. You go ahead and talk to Master Edwin. He has been blessed by the heavens. And by blessed by the heavens, I mean there was a fucking guy from the Council of Nine who went head down and said, "This is your job now." Also, her awakening. Her awakening was fluid. Her awakening was her own. Her awakening followed maybe not the edicts of your vision of the wheel or my vision of the wheel, but somebody's vision of the wheel. Her narrative continued as it ought to. She was fated. Any awakening is fated. Just is. There's no fighting against it. There's no prescription about it. There's no retrofitting it to fit anybody else's needs. It just is. And I'm, for one, am just willing to go ahead and let that poor sucker of a soul, that divine enlightened spirit, to go ahead and blossom where it will be. Like I said, your vision of New York, of the Magi, it's a wonderful one. It's one that was present when you and I were still around. I understand that. It's what we were working with back then, but it's no longer as such. I hope for one day it would be, that we would have that structure and that hierarchy to go ahead and protect ourselves. But as of now, a lot of us have gone ahead and dug our heads in, bunkered up. Maybe that may not be the most courageous idea, but it has led us to survive through these scorch months and these scorch years.
So you're saying we should run and hide like children?
I'm saying we do what we have always done, which is find those places of power that are ours, where reality can be manipulated as we are wont to do, and fortify those places, which we have always done.
We're spreading ourselves too thin, Jericho. You know, this is my opinion. You know where I stand on this. Fewer centers of power that are better defended are a lot more valuable than a lot of them that have one or two gods. The wheel was strong when I left, and it almost fell.
Tell
The
me what you
Diogenes
see.
Club is strong. It might fall as well.
Tell me what you see. Tell me how the wheel falls.
Well, I haven't consulted the wheel in a while. I had my own things to do. Problem is, Jericho, that yeah, the city is as exotic as it gets. Like you said, we have the werewolves, we have the leeches, we have the fair folk, we have demons, we have spirits, and gods know what else. Anyone can be an ally, but in equal measure, anyone can be a threat. I still mourn the loss of our brothers, and that's something that whether we know the workings of the wheel or not, we can't forget and can't store in a file somewhere and pretend it didn't happen. An assault, a direct assault on a tradition chantry in one of the major cities of the US of A that you love so much should raise some questions. I'm glad that it's settled. I'm glad that we're under new command. But let's be honest. We need strong tradition presence. If would be if it would be 20, but let's not even say 20, 10 of us in the city. I would have nothing against you going away and doing your own thing. But we need a safe house most of all. We need a place where we can stock up that's well worded, well guarded, well stocked, and well staffed in case of an assault. Consider this as a safe house because that's what I want. That's what all chantries should be first and foremost. If your chantry is strong enough to survive on its own, more power to you. But don't forget what you are and don't forget where you came from. I have nothing against making ends meet. Fortify your own chantry. Help me fortify the wheel. If things go haywire, you're more than welcome here.
Demi, what do you know about the movers and shakers in the Mage world?
As much as anyone with our age and experience. So I know how how things go, how the primi work, how I know
No.
just the
I mean,
politics.
who is on the ground right now? Do you know that?
I wouldn't exactly say I'm sure about who.
Demi, I see in your future, not by, magical means, but just my fucking intuition, that, a lot of people are going to go ahead and run through this casino. I see that you notice that Jericho's actually going to get his, grab, something from his, back pocket, go ahead and throw it down. It's a very, very ratty tarot card set. You know that right off the fucking bat. You recognize the stars, the moons, and whatever have you. Goes ahead and brings it out. Start to shuffle it very, very roughly, like you would do a playing card set, not a tarot set that it ought to be. It's very, very rough. You know that the edges are completely and utterly frayed, actually. Like, he hasn't paid proper due respect to this deck, but he's been using it for quite a long while. He goes ahead and starts to lay them out in a random pattern. You see cups, you see staves, you see stars. He says, I foresee that this place is about to get a lot of attention very, very soon. Good, bad, attention. Just attention. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and forget the old ways, the old styles. No, don't forget about them. Use them, yes. But don't use them yet. Because you don't know who is in the city right now. You need to know who's on the ground. You need to know who's friends with who knows what powers, and all the other bullshit that goes along with it. Then you start building up your places of power. Does that make sense?
You know, I've never been a social guy. Meetings and politics are not exactly my taste. Don't get me wrong. I can talk the talk and walk the walk if push comes to shove and I actually need to be a representative. The problem is that what you're suggesting now is a lot of small cabals going out and basically, I don't know, socially hunting people and finding out what works where and who works with who and who's who. And that's something that, in my book, takes a lot of time and a lot of resources and a lot of people that we don't have. We're a handful of mages in the whole city.
I'll tell you this much. That's how New York has been operating for a very, very long time. That's how my Chandri has been set up. That's how many other Chandris have been set up. And dear fucking God, I wish Alexander was still here, so he can show you the Green Glades and the wonderful place that he made.
I have nothing against having our own places, but there's a reason why the traditions held up for fucking thousands of years.
I understand that, but that's not going to work here anymore. Because we don't have that backbone. Dimmy, if we had that backbone, that old master shtick, if we had 20 or so odd people here disciplined, we could go ahead and break that kind of down. We could have that kind of hierarchy, but we don't. We have a bunch of wild talent walking around, wandering around, that aren't disciplined. That bad? I don't know, but it's how we're working at the moment. You don't go to war with the army you want, Demi. You go to war with the army you've got.
Fair enough. But let me ask you this. Why do you think people like me, like you, like, I don't know, Vicky, like Edwin, why do you think we have the power we have? Why do you think we can keep our shit together and actually be proficient in what we do? It's because we're tied down to some rules, to some affinities. Why do you think we're mages of fate? Because even a recently awakened mage has a basic understanding of how fate works. That's our forte. I've got nothing against mixing and matching and closing the ranks of whoever happens to be here. It's just that. And you see Dimi not even finishing his sentence and just completely freezing. I just had an idea, and this might actually work. How many mages are we roughly in this city?
How many mages that I know off the top of my head? Well, let me go ahead and count them. You. About 9. Off the top of my head, I can go ahead and count off.
Okay.
No, excuse me. 12.
Okay. So we're roughly under 20. How about we try and actually meet and get together on neutral grounds?
That's actually a good idea.
You want a single point of power, right? You want a place where we can all go on equal terms if push comes to shove and we actually need to be the mages of New York united under one banner to fight whoever the fuck decides to knock down our doors.
If there's a crisis, it would be fantastic to have a place the community can go and run to.
Remember Vicky?
Yeah, briefly. I don't think we actually personally met, but I knew of her.
Have you ever heard of a little project of the Hermetics called the Fight Club?
First rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club.
I saw the movie, I know the drill.
Unfamiliar?
No. I only went there like twice. I think I should go talk with Edwin. Basically, that club is pretty well guarded. It's damn near impossible to break into. And it has the small advantage that there are some strong enchantments, some strong manas work. Manas meaning mind, on it. So basically, anyone that gets in and doesn't have a manas shield that's strong enough, they forget pretty much everything, like how they got there, who they saw, what they talked about. And basically, they broke in for nothing. How about I talk to Edwin? How about we decide? I can't remember exactly the location. I never bothered filling my head with street names and stuff like that. I can take you there with no problems whatsoever. How about we work a little on that club? Make it Mage Ground Zero. Have a weapons room. It's a fucking huge club. She decided to have a ring on it. Let's say that, ignoring, like you said, the old rules of Kertamen, we can have some sparring in there, supervised, organized, structuralized. See how people act, see their fortes, learn from one another. I can pretty much teach anyone a thing or two about throwing a punch. It's a completely different thing when you're talking about street magic and fast magic and combat magic. There is such thing as subtle, coincidental fighting magic. You don't need to throw fireballs down the street to make a point. It's
may need to teach a few people about that. I foresee that you need to teach a few people about that one.
I can teach half of the people I know how to throw a decent punch without breaking their fingers.
I like this idea. At least a place that's known by all magi, that's open. I can appreciate that. I think that's something that I'd be willing to throw some resources at.
Yeah. We might actually need a cover story for it. Make sure that more sleepers don't accidentally stumble in. Sign some contracts, make it actually a working deal. We might actually get something out of it. There's nothing wrong in actually having a club there. Can't exactly remember the whole floor plans, but if Vicky had her nose poking in it, I'm sure that there's some things in the Diogenes Club that I could get my hands on. We might actually have something. I know there's at least one floor above the ground floor that has a lot of rooms. Maybe for our occasional orphan or visitor, we might actually set up a small, I don't know, boarding school. Bed and breakfast?
The orphans of this city, they... Well, were you ever introduced to the prisoner?
Nope.
Right. I love the story. Well, I love and hate the story. The prisoner was a magi that ran to me, was an orphan, had his own weird paradigm, thought that this world was a freaking cage. Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I remember that this reality went ahead and rejected him quite harshly. Couldn't actually patch himself up, which was weird and awkward for everybody. He went ahead and lived for quite a number of months under my household, and then quite suddenly he just simply disappeared. I'd like to think that that man, the prisoner, went ahead and escaped the prison.
To each his own road. Or her own road.
You're still
But
talking about Jade.
okay, I have a problem with it. I have a problem with orphans in general. I was brought up since birth inside a chantry, inside a one tradition, two house chantry. I know what my mother went through to be accepted, and keep in mind she's aided.
Mm-hmm.
We're practically same sides of the same coin. Different points of view, but same sides on the same fucking coin. We're not as different from one another than we are from like the Chakravanti back in India. We worship pretty much the same gods under different names. And she had trouble fitting in and getting accepted. I have problems with the so-called unaffiliated. Okay, everybody wants to be a little snowflake. I can accept that. But let's just say that, okay, let's just help these misguided children find their place. There's no such thing as a mage without tradition.
Is that what you believe?
Pretty strongly.
She's too fluid. She's too flexible. She doesn't fit into one category very, very well. I don't think she ever did. I think her head was always in the clouds. I think that she was always dreaming. Never one to settle down in one pair of shoes, and that's why she kept changing shoes over and over again.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Jericho. Most of us could fit into another tradition pretty well. I don't think the dream speakers would kick you out, seeing your knowledge about the Shadowlands. I can heal faster, safer than most Verbena do. That doesn't mean we are not what we are. But we're getting sidetracked here.
No, we're different. We're very, very much different. Didn't you hear? The old ways are falling down. Didn't you feel that realm crashing and falling?
My connection with the spirits is not as strong as yours.
The Council of Nine, well, they're old. They're fractured. Something else has come into fruition. Something else has bloomed in their absence. While they have been fractured, there is the New Horizon.
Again with the politics.
Oh yes, always fucking politics. But I like the name Chakravanti better than Uthanatoi. Chakravanti says that we are of the wheel. Uthanatoi means that we bring the end. Yes,
No,
we should
we
bring
are
an
the
end.
bringers of good death.
I know.
Don't teach me my own language, Jericho. I know what we are.
Bringers of the good death. Most people tend for it because they're ignorant. You and I both know what that really means. The bringers of the good death. We've all been taught how the wheel works, how fate and entropy works, but I'm a man of the wheel, not necessarily of the end.
Call yourself whatever you want. I stick to the old name. It's a bit of Greek pride in the mix, but I stick to my old name. Okay?
I'll not
We're a
deny
tradition
you.
that's infamous for being misinterpreted, feared, loathed, whatever. Not a lot of people care for the gravedigger. Yet his job is as important as many others. We have the verbena to keep for the living. Someone needs to handle the dead. Things need to end for new things to rise. It's a natural order of things.
I'll not deny you your tradition or traditional values, and I'll not deny you your pride. It's just was never for me. I'm a healer. Always have been, always will be.
In case you've forgotten, I kinda sewed my body back together after a fight. And grew this from scratch.
I remember. I performed my own exorcism.
I'm a pretty decent healer as well.
I went ahead and got myself out of the coma that everybody else fell into.
More power to you. So, just so we set the plans, I'm gonna go down, request an audience with Edwin, and see what we can do about that club. Once the formalities are ready, let's see if we can gather our strongest forces and make sure the security is up and running.
You go ahead and tell Master Edwin that I am certainly interested in seeing a neutral ground for Mage to gather. I'm interested. I've made no commitments yet.
Yeah, the problem is that if you have a common ground, we need as many able-bodied people to word it and make it secure. It needs a lot of work. It needs words against pretty much everything out there. It needs manas shields and manas work, so people don't notice it or forget about it. You need the tightest security you can get, because a technocracy member is still a mage. A Nefandus is still a mage. A Marauder is still a mage. Half the turncoats we might actually run into are still mages. And half of our allies are not exactly as pure as heart as we initially believe. So any spells regarding the purity of intent kind of falls on deaf ears. Not to mention the fact that advertisement is going to be a pain in the ass.
You are asking for talents well beyond my capabilities. This is where, again, you need to go ahead and find that talent out there. There's wild talent out there. There are no traditions. There are no hierarchies. There is simply you, what you can provide, and what your neighbor can provide afterwards. It's up to you, man.
Yeah. This whole hippie bullshit is beyond me. You want a place where we can all gather? I'm up for it. You want a place where we can teach each other to the best of our ability how to fight and how to survive? More power to you. I'm not gonna go and do street work or charity work for all the orphans. I'm not gonna be the agent that gathers up the wild talent. Hopefully, one of them might turn into our own. I want people for my tradition.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just telling you what's out there right now. The other traditions, they're still alive and well. You just have to find them. I know correspondence mages, I know forces mages, I know entropic mages, I know mind mages. They're out there. Just have
Why
to
do
find
you
them.
Jericho, one last question. Why the fuck do you defend the orphans so much? Do you think a tradition bestowed upon a mage is a curse?
Am I defending any of the orphans?
It seems like it.
I, for myself, have a VA, an orphan, a Chakravanti, an Athanatoi, and a Hollow One that I call my closest friends. They have kept me safe for as long as I have been here. I do not defend anyone. I'm just telling you where people actually are. This isn't about traditions, it's where individual magi who have the talent that you desperately want and need are. Some of them are traditionalists, some are orphans, but not a lot of them are.
Okay. Then let's start our little urban Hogwarts, put people in their place, make a united front, have our stronghold that you so dearly desire.
Never gonna happen. Ain't no Hogwarts.
Okay, we teach people how to do spells, call it whatever you want.
Teach people to defend themselves, at least.
At least maybe something rubs off on them. And by the way, who's the other Chakravanti in the city? Because there's me, you.
There's a James Kingsley, actually. Went my way. I'll give you his number.
Fair enough. Well, then I'll get back to you after I talk with Edwin. See what we can do about that club. See if we might actually find a place of power or redirect one. Make it neutral ground.
Plenty of them out there. Just need to find it, take it, fortify it.
Well, you wanted concentration. You have concentration in its fairest form. A building that big can have anything you want. Housing, fight clubs, classrooms, a bar, a cafeteria, council room. I don't know. Maybe a built-in cinema. Fuck knows.
You're thinking big, big plans, and that's good, but you need people.
I need ability, not people.
You need people.
I need ability, not people. I
What do
need
you
money, I need time, and I need ability. If one of the archmages decides to show up between the two of us in the next 20 seconds, I'm willing to bet that until tomorrow I can solve most of these things. Unfortunately, things don't go that way, and we both know that. You handle the people, I handle the paperwork. Do we have a deal?
No, I'm not handling people for you.
You're not handling people for me, you're handling people for the both of us.
No. Demi, this isn't about us working together. That's something that we can work towards, definitely, but we are not at that place yet. You did things. You betrayed me. I didn't have the fucking guts to tell you it when it happened. I let it slide.
Okay, you made me curious. Betrayed you when?
You put your own fucking perspective, your faith, whatever have you, and then your selfish fucking ambition in front of my safety and in front of any proper investigation work with the fucking MacArthurs. That is something that I hold against you.
Yeah, You're fine and well. I look like this now. Okay? I paid my debts. I solved the MacArthur case on my own ability, with my own payment. The moment I see silver streaks running through your hair, then we're even. You don't have any right to hold anything against me.
Goes ahead and starts to wave back his hair. Starts to show you a bit of gray there. It's not that hard.
You know how I handle in the field. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna excuse myself for how I handle in the field. Things happen.
You took a motherfucking mother away from their children in front of them. You went ahead and bundled her in a carpet, and then you went ahead and forced those twins to go ahead and ride in the back of the van. Why do you think I fucking jumped? Because it was an insane fucking situation.
Yeah, most of our traditions members awoke in situations like that. It happens. They're casualties of war. Basic manners were you remove any sign of trauma. And let me remind you that I wasn't the one that sent a bullet jumping through her skull.
Complications arise. I understand that, but you didn't have to take the mother. You took it because you wanted her skeleton for your own selfish reasons. You went ahead and put us all at jeopardy.
If it makes you feel any better, she's properly buried. With all the rights of her faith.
That's good enough for her. You still put us in jeopardy.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you wouldn't survive a month with my family.
Old bad business, old bad news. You were prepared for that, right?
You have no idea how many people died right next to me.
Oh, and when it came fucking down to it, who made that mistake go away? Who corrected that fucking mistake? The twins. That was me. I didn't get no fucking thanks about that. I don't want any no thanks about that. Not from the tradition. Because I went ahead and accepted that situation way too fucking quickly.
You know what's the greatest thank you we get for our work?
A good death.
I wasn't going that far, but still. I meant besides that. The work of a good faith mage, of a good chakravanti, of a good devasthana, call us what you like, is no one noticing anything. Things fall into their place. That's why we're here. So no one notices a fucking thing. Okay? I lost 10 years of my life to a fucking ghost trader to repay the soul of Caroline MacArthur. I didn't get a fucking cookie for it, not to mention thanks.
You never told me this. You said that you paid. You didn't say who you paid it to.
I paid with years of my life, and that's all you're gonna get out of me. That's why I look like this. I spent more time in the Shadowlands, and it's a miracle of chance why I didn't come out jaw-tainted and brain-fucked to hell and back. I spent my time in the Shadowlands. I repaid my mistakes. Things are settled.
It's signs like these when you don't properly explain yourself, when there's no communication between us, that old grudges and resentments stay. Like I said, when you started this conversation, you explained that gray hair was because you paid a debt. You didn't explain who you paid it to.
I thought you'd figured it out when I said the MacArthur business is settled.
I thought you settled it with the higher-ups.
I don't go to the higher-ups. Unless I have to.
Okay.
In my case, to my country leader. Which just happens to be my dad. He wasn't happy. And you know how things go back on the other side of the pond. You make your mess, you clean it up.
Yeah.
You learn something from it.
Fair enough.
Okay? You hadn't seen me in the state I was in even when I walked back here. And Dimi waves his hand to one of the doors, and if you look where he's pointing, you can see crutches and a walking cane.
We all made our decisions. We all made our own mistakes and our own wondrous works.
I cleaned mine up. I don't deserve any grudges. Okay? Okay, fair enough. I know what you want to hear. Okay, I wronged you. I'm sorry. But, like I said before, the moment I met you, you weren't tough enough for field work. Yeah, I'm sorry that field work didn't imply healing sick children in a hospital somewhere. Because, yeah, contrary to popular belief, we do that from time to time.
I do that. Now.
We all do that. Congrats.
That was the one of the things that I had to find out for my own, how to build up and how to do. You think I just built a fucking chantry? No, I went ahead and revigorated the entire fucking healthcare system in my little neck of the woods.
Yeah, I'm glad for you.
That's where I was meant to go.
Yeah, some of us heal, some of us kill. That's how it's always been. We can't rely on the verbena to actually do most of the jobs that we hate.
Okay, Dimmy. One thing that we can go ahead and clear up now. I don't trust you to work with me in field work. I trust you with a lot of other things. Yeah. You know your shit. I can't deny that. You probably dealt with the traditions a lot more than me, but in the field, we can't do that anymore. I'm sorry. If it breaks your fucking heart, I'm sorry. If it doesn't, if you think I'm fucking pussy, don't really fucking care. We don't work like that anymore.
Fair enough, you don't want to do field work together. Fair enough. I'm not asking you to do field work with me. I'm not going around putting bullets into anyone's brain, at least not for a while.
No, go ahead and kill some of those fucking leeches for me, okay?
Hey, once I get back on track, you're gonna see a proper reduction of their population, so to speak. But let's focus on home turf, first and foremost. I'm not asking you to do field work with me. I'm asking you. You can see Dim is visibly tired, and he doesn't have the same conviction and the same energy behind his words that you remember. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you to help me, to help all of us build something that might benefit us in the long run. No traditions, no politics, no unnecessary involvement from the higher ups.
Trigger's gonna go ahead and take the moment. Take this to do a half-drunk whiskey shot. Go ahead and pass it over to you.
Dimmy just takes the glass and looks at it. I'm just saying, we need one place, one neutral ground where we can be what we are, among our own. Politics, of course, is going to get involved. It gets involved everywhere where there are two mages, there are three different parties or three different factions. The problem is that we need to train the wild talent. We need to put people into their places, into their right homes, and see about our business. We need one stronghold in which each of us invests as much as they can, so that if push comes to shove, we have a place to go to. We have portals set up there. We have weapons, we have food, we have books, we have everything we need. Of course, we're not going to trade in tradition secrets, but a basic punch is a basic punch regardless of what you are. A basic healing spell is a basic healing spell, no matter your paradigm, no matter your view on the world. Higher secrets, old traditions, trade secrets of each tradition, that's another story. That's something we're not allowed to share for a good reason.
You're remembering back when it was just the Hermetic Stronghold, aren't you?
Yep.
Tell me about those days.
Well, let's just say that the Hermetic Stronghold is a stronghold in its own right. It's huge. It has everything it needs. Unfortunately, the Hermetics are one of the most divided traditions I've ever seen. Their whole house system and everything fucks me up greatly. And their whole, you've got 20 levels to reach that other level, to reach another level, and so on and so forth. And there's like 500 different levels of initiation, whatever. No. I work on basic levels. You're an apprentice, then you're a mage. You can end up as a chantry head. If luck smiles on you, you end up as either as awakening somehow, ascending somehow, or ending up as an archmage. You're really, really lucky, you end up being the primus. That's all the politics I need, that's all the hierarchy I need.
You'll notice that the mention of that first word, ascension, Jericho actually turns his, actually shifts his eye away from you. Back to the crutches.
What I'm saying is that what they had there was good for them and them alone. We have resources that we can spend regardless of our traditions, knowledge that can be shared. Yeah, we're not going to be Archmage 101. We don't want to be there. But you have wild talents, like you said, that can tell the basics of what the art is, of how magic works, and they need guidance. I'm willing to teach whoever wants to listen, but to a limit, to the limit in which I might break the covenants that I made with my tradition. If they're one of us, completely different story. That's why I have a problem with orphans. There is no hierarchy in which, hierarchy was not the word I'm looking for. There's no higher-ups, there's no authority, there's no
checks and balance, there's no safety net.
More or less. There's no one to guide them. What are the basic rules of the orphans?
Basic rules of the orphans are different from each and every orphan.
They don't have a united front. Power lies in unity. We have our rules, we have the wheel, we have our traditions. We have things passed down from generation to generation for the best part of 5,000 years. That's how we survived. That's why we are where we are now. We have someone to keep our back safe. We have someone to go to if things go haywire. Orphans, hollow ones, whatever they call themselves now. They don't. They don't. They lack the proper guidance that you get inside a tradition.
I'm not going to say that that's wrong. Actually, I can't say that that's wrong at all. It's still true. I wish it wasn't true, but it's kind of still true.
I know we have our grudges. Politics goes back. We all remember the Himalayan War. We have our bones to pick with the Akashics. I'd rather work with an Akashic than an orphan.
Yeah.
Because I know something of them. Something that binds them together are basic skills and the basic folklore of each tradition. Grants you some safe knowledge. Okay? You don't make Dragon Ball Z jokes around the Akashics. There's a reason for that. But you know, they're able-bodied fighters. They know, you know that if one of them is your close friend in Landby, that no one's gonna fuck with your thoughts, and that your mind's your own. You know, if you stick to any Oxanatoi, that you might actually have some luck on cards, and that fate might fall upon you, and you might actually find out that that last drop of gas in your tank might take you further than you initially thought. You know, the Hermetics might be the only able-bodied people to actually throw a decent fireball and actually kill something with it.
That dichotomy is... That dichotomy makes sense. It does. Kind of wish it was actually applicable to the situation right now. Have you heard from Charlotte Gray recently?
Nope.
I can arrange a meeting. You should talk to her. She's all about these plans. In fact, I think she would go ahead and grab on to your plan of a fight club with both hands.
But we need to call on the higher-ups. Because the words we need, the amount of protection that we need is beyond, way beyond our skill level. Hell, it might be even above Edwin's head. Words
Maybe.
are complicated things.
They are complicated things, but I know a few people in this city that are able to make it stick. I got one of them in my retinue. Awesome, fantastic guy. Haven't talked to him recently.
It's one thing to word a house or a tent or something like that. It's another thing to word something that's half the size of Madison Square Garden. And we need words that are conditioned, words against the legions, words against the faithful, words against werewolves, words against sleepers, words against pretty much anything that's not a mage. And pay attention, I'm saying anything, not anyone.
Oh yeah. Spiritual ward as well.
And mind shields and forces shields and
All wonderful things that used to be centralized, codified, and classified in the Diogenes Club. You really miss those days, don't you?
hey, besides the fact that I wasn't working with my own, it was a pretty nice place to be. You had food, you had homes, you had books, you had safety.
Mhm.
You had someone to go to when pretty much that was the Diogenes Club is kind of the urban Hogwarts.
I understand.
You need someone to teach you how to fight, you need someone to teach you how to heal, you need someone to teach you how to survive from day to day without getting doxed out of your ears.
I'll tell you that my experiences in New York as far as housing is concerned. Lived my own for a little bit, knew that was a stupid idea, moved into the wheel, fantastic company, Things may have gone sour, but as far as I was there, it had everything I wanted and needed. I could do my own studies. Then I moved out, found my own place. It's like I grew up. What do you think about that?
Can't say I'm for it. I can't say exactly I'm against it. I can't shake the feeling that you're judging our entire tradition through the prism of my own actions.
Demi, you were always the most senior lieutenantoi within this city. Your actions before do not necessarily have to be your actions now. I don't besmirk the entire tradition. I had my own complications, my own thoughts, my own doubts, struggles of faith. I found my own way because I had to, because everybody has to find their own way to ascension.
Okay. Well, it's getting late, Jericho. I'm gonna go do the paperwork, make our little school, take care of the kids, and if Ascension creeps in the way, I'll make sure to keep an eye out.
I believe ascension does creep its ugly head. You will not see it until it's too late.
It happens to the best of us. Actually, if I come to think of it, it would be a lot more fun to actually end up old and respected rather than be whooshed away by some mysterious force. But it's a matter of taste.
Jericho's could go ahead and sit his happy ass up.
Dim is gonna rise as well, and he grabs your hand, but like in the old medieval style, where he grabs like your entire forearm.
Yep.
Leans in and kind of gives you a hug, lifting you up from the ground a little. But Jericho's not that strong. Dim is not that strong.
Mhm.
And you can see him grabbing his walking cane and opening the other door that leads towards the back rooms and the higher levels. And as the door closes in, you can just hear Dimi say, "Good night, take care of you, and grab whatever you need on the way out within like a $50 limit and put it on my tab." And he pushes the door with his walking cane, and you can hear him going upstairs.
Mhm. Jericho, for his part, is going to go ahead and grab one of the consorts, actually. Write down just a very, very short message. Simply states, went better than expected. Brother, I have not seen you for a long time. Signed, Simply J. The consort will, after a while, find your room and deliver it. But until then, Jericho, for his part, is just going to go ahead and quietly leave the Temple of the Wheel. All the bells, the whistles, the wheels, turning cards being displayed, loud sirens. There is an energy that is building in this place. A very, very primal energy building in this place behind him as he goes ahead and leaves the Temple of the Wheel for his own business. And, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching again. And we will see you all next time. Bye.